Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so we're going to continue. So for this video, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to focus on the Julia programming language itself, but particularly for this one, we're going to explore on immediately exploring the QuranTree.jl. That's the library that we're going to use for accessing the Quran. So let me just at least give you a glance as to how we can access the Quran using Julia. And then maybe after that, once you have the idea as to how we can uh, interact with the Quran using Julia, then maybe after that we can focus on the Julia programming language itself, right? So let me close that. And then in this case, so I told you basic arithmetic, so we're going to discuss that in the next tutorial. But for now, let's just say loading Quran to Julia. Okay, so that's the um, topic for this video. And then let's say the following codes will uh, install the necessary libraries for working with the Quran, or say for accessing the Quran in Julia. Okay, so for us to load the Quran, we need to install QuranTree libraries. So let's just write here. To do this, we have to install QuranTree.jl library. So that's the library that we're going to install. So let me just bold this, have it in bold. So QuranTree.jl. So for us to install that, right? And we're going to discuss this in detail in succeeding videos. But for now, just follow me. So first, for us to install that library, first we need to load a library, a Julia library, a built-in Julia library called PKG, which is package. So if I run that, I can actually click this, or I can also say run it using Control Enter, or also hold Shift and then press Enter. So if I hold Shift and then press Enter, there you go. So it's now checked, meaning to say it successfully run this code. I mean, it successfully run this code, yeah. And then after that, I can just say pkg.add Quran 3. Okay, that's how you install this library, Quran 3. So this is the library which I told you last time. This is the library that I've created for us to interact with the Quran. So if you install that, I hold Shift and then press Enter, or I can just click it, that icon earlier. So now it's installing. So let's just wait. I think it will actually take about a minute, I guess. Let's see. So it's, as you can see, it's giving you the information what it is installing currently, right? So let's see, let's wait for it. Still working. Okay, it's pre-compiling. So it successfully downloaded the library, and now it's actually installing it. So let's see. So hoping it will finish, but while waiting for that one, right, let's just consult the documentation. So QuranTree.jl. So if you search that in Google, or in also in my case here, this is actually the link to it, right? You can actually search this in Google. But this is the library that I mentioned to you earlier. So this is the library I've created. And so we're just going to explore how we can use this or how we can extract the Quran using this, right? So let's go back to the code. Let's see. So it took it 1 minute to install. So now it has successfully installed, and then I can actually hide this if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let me hide the output. There you go. Because it's quite long. So next, now that we've installed the library QuranTree.jl, so maybe let me just delete everything below here. Let me just delete this one as well. Now that we've installed QuranTree.jl, we can then load it into our notebook and say this is how we do it using Quran 3. So I run that. Again, you can just press this if you want to run it, or you can hold shift and then press enter, right? So if I run that again, there you go. So I've loaded the Quran 3, and then the way we load the data itself, right? So this is how we do it. You say Quran data. So for now, I'm not going to explain yet what do I mean by this one. Quran equals something like this one. Let's just write. Let's just access the Quran first using Julia, and then maybe slowly we're going to explain how this code works, right? And then after that, once we've loaded the Quran data, basically it's actually simply extracted the location of that file, right? And then of the text file, and then we can then say uh, assign a variable, in this case a corpus, and then tanzil, and then say load data, right? So let's see. If I write this, if I run this, I put semicolon so that I don't have to print the output yet. So there you go. As you can see, it doesn't have any output. And then if I want to show the corpus, if I actually want to read that, this is the output. So this is a Quran Arabic corpus from Kais Dux. So you can search that. We're going to discuss this as well. And this data of the Quran Arabic corpus. So also if I say Tanzil, as you can see here, it's actually showing me the raw data of the Quran from tanzil.net. But as you can see, it's hard to read, right? So maybe we can actually reformat it in, say, a table form so that we can easily understand. So for us to do that, we can say table, say tanzil. If I run that, okay, so there you go. Now it is now in table form. So as you can see, Tanzil Quran text Uthmani. As you can see here, right? And then I can also assign this into a variable so that I can just call it in succeeding code. So let's just say I assign this to this variable tnz data, or say tnz table. And then say, so in this tnz table, if I run it, as you can see here, I have now the data of the Quran. So starting from chapter 1 or first surah and first verse, which is Basmala, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, all the way to last surah, which is surah 114, surah Nas, and then the last verse, which is Min al Jinnat wal Nas, right? So this is for the Tanzil table, and I can also do that for the corpus data earlier. So if I insert a code here, I say crp table, so table corpus, and then I can also show it here, say crp table. This is the data, the Kais Dux data earlier, which is the Quranic Arabic corpus, right? So I'm going to explain this to you, but basically these are just the same, but this one simply is very detailed. It not only captured the chapter, the verse, but also which word and which part of that word. So in this case, it's instead of Bismillah, we every row here is actually at the syllable level. So B, for example, and also has this part of each speech tag, for example, part of the speech tag. In this case, this is a prefix, for example, or yeah, it's a prefix, and I think this is a pronoun. If I know preposition, I think, yeah, in, or in the name of Allah, right? So I guess in is a preposition, and also this one, the features here, this is, refers to the morphological features. Okay, there you go. Now, um, just to show you, say for example, so I'm going to discuss, right, the difference of this one and these two, but they are actually just the same, but we're going to discuss that in the future videos. But for now, suppose you want to access a Surah Nas only, right? Because here in Tanzil table we are accessing all of the data. So if I want to, excuse me, if you want to access first chapter only, assuming, so all I have to do is just actually say Tanzil table, this one earlier, and then I can just say index this with 1, and this will actually give me the first surah, Surah Al-Fatiha. So you can see Surah Al-Fatiha, chapter 1, the opening, Surah Al-Fatiha. I have here the first 7 verses, right? If I say I want to see Surah Nas, for example, or Ikhlas, for example, Surah Al-Ikhlas. So if I run that, there you go, Surah Al-Ikhlas, chapter 112, and this is the content of it. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Alhamdulillah. So, and then after that, so that's how you access the surah. If I want to access, say, the verse, right? So if in this case, assuming I want to access the second verse, so all I have to do, so if I insert this new code here, all I have to do is actually, after adding this index 112, all I have to do is also add the another open and close bracket, and enter the verse number. So in this case, second verse of Surah Al-Ikhlas. If I run that, okay, so there you go, Allahu Samad. Now, I have a very slow connection at the moment. By the way, I'm actually just using my data. We have internet connection at the moment, so that's why it's actually running kind of long actually to execute, but this should be very fast actually. So yeah, but basically that's how you access the what is this, the second verse of the Tanzil table. So I'll just stop here, and hoping in our next video we can then, maybe I'll create, or I'll spend more time maybe in this one in another video before we then proceed to Julia programming languages, the core component of it. But I think in the next video, let's just continue and see at a high level just what other tools can we use in accessing the Quran here using the QuranTree.jl. But of course, once we've discussed the core functionalities of Julia, or the Julia programming language itself, we can of course continue on this one and try to explore and what type of analysis can we do, or what instructions or what processing can we do further. But let's just end it for now. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.